The African Transformation Movement has accused the office of the acting public protector advocate Kholeka Gcaleka of a secret deal in granting President Cyril Ramaphosa an extension to the deadline set for his written response to questions relating to the 2020 robbery on his farm. The Office of the Public Protector, however, released a statement on Friday detailing the extension and reiterating that it is not uncommon. ATM, nonetheless, found issue with the fact that they were not informed of the agreement, as they were the complainants in the matter. For more on this, we speak to ATM President Vuyo Zungula. Mr. Zungula, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us this morning. I understand that your organization is seeking legal advice on whether or not this particular extension can, in fact, be set aside. Just take us through some of your concerns with the extension that was granted to the President.
Good morning and morning to everyone watching. Firstly, I think we need to remind the public that the allegations that have been leveled against the sitting president, they are very serious allegations that require any investigation that are done by any institution, be it the public protector, be it SARS, be it the Hawks. It must give confidence that they are independent and they are doing the work in the best interest of the people. Therefore, to only learn about the extension of Mr. Ramaphosa having to comply with the questions on the media, that shows that, firstly, the acting public protector does not take us, the complainant and the nation, seriously, because this is a very, very concerning issue to the public. The second issue is that it confirms that it's going to, in fact, there is no independence. As long as Ramaphosa is still the president, he will influence the nature of the investigations, because it can't be that he's going to say he's extremely busy. Just last week or so, he was selling animals and he was boasting there about how he's the president of the Uncle Society and is the most important president in his life. The other one, meaning being president of the country, is just a nice thing to have. You know, such disregard for the people of our country. So that is why we as the ATM, we said to our lawyers, can you please look into this and advise whether it could be possible for us to actually go to court and render that extension to be, to be null and void, because we can't allow a situation whereby South Africans are disrespected to this extent.
I mean, talking about the extension itself, the issue at hand here is, the president had to absolutely give a response to those questions. This has to do with principles of natural justice. The other side has to be heard. And so if the Office of the Public Protector is to carry out an investigation that is fair in the eyes of the law, the president has to be afforded time to give that response. I mean, is that a satisfactory answer to you? This is what has been put forward by the Public Protector.
What the president is saying on his affidavit is that he's extremely busy. However, one can't not look at the situations or the events that he's been attending. He's been attending, events on his private capacity, enjoying his time, and etc. Now, what we're saying is the ATM, this case of ours, this complaint of ours, it is a case of a serious concern to the public. Therefore, you would expect the president to put the interests of the people first before, by making sure that he complies with that 2 weeks. And also, he did say when he spoke in Polokwane in the ANC conference that he's got nothing to hide. He knows exactly what happened and everything was above board. Why does he need a further extension to the 18th of July for? If he's got nothing to hide. So for us, yes, we agree with natural justice that he must be given an opportunity to respond. However, any extension must give confidence that it is not an extension that is coming from undue influence or it is from a secret deal, and it will further conflate the issues when it comes to the investigation. We do not want the investigation to be contaminated, because the result as well might give an impression that it is not the investigation was not above board and Mr. Ramaphosa had undue influence on the acting public protector.
Well, on the issue of independence, the public protector has given the assurance that in terms of the integrity of the investigation, that hasn't been compromised. And in terms of any delays, that the probe is in fact still on track. And that to your questions around whether or not the president has some sort of undue influence, that the principle of equality before the law is one that still stands in this investigation. Your foregone conclusion that there may in fact have been undue influence speaks to the fact that you think that this entire investigation, this entire probe, should already be thrown out the door.
Look, you've got a president that has already suspended the public protector immediately after the public protector said she's investigating the president. And she sent those 31 questions. The president suspends. Firstly, that is influence. Whether a person can disagree or, with me, but that is influence. Secondly, with the acting public protector, she needed to comply with, the rules or the laws that regulate how long should the investigation last and continue the investigation and make sure that she gives confidence that there is no undue influence. Therefore, when you are going to have now an extension that is not publicized, because it took us as the ATM to pick it up on the media, it took the affidavit of Mr. Ramaphosa for the acting public protector to actually go make a statement and say there's nothing untoward. Whereas Section 195 of the Constitution speaks about transparency and how institutions dealing with public service have to be transparent. If the public protector was not at all influenced, the first thing she would have done is firstly understand that should there have been any extension, it would have given an impression that firstly, Mr. Ramaphosa has got some undue influence on her. Secondly, she would have made a statement on the day that I've granted Mr. Ramaphosa, not wait up until there's public outcry, not wait up until there are concerns raised by the public, but she should have done that as soon as she entered into that private arrangement.
I think it will be hard to prove the issue of undue influence in this instance, Mr. Zungula, simply because this is not the first time that an extension has been granted to the president where he was in fact being investigated in terms of the Executive Ethics Code when the public protector, the suspended public protector advocate Musisiwe Mkhwebane was investigating the Bosasa claims against the president. An extension was granted then. There was no outcry with regards to that instance. So just in terms of consistency, it doesn't seem that this is in fact an uncommon occurrence. It does happen quite commonly.
Indeed, we've got no issues with what had transpired in the past because the circumstances differ. The public protector was not suspended then. And, the nature of the investigation was not a matter of public record. However, in this particular case, firstly, we've got a public protector that was suspended by merely stating that she is investigating the president based on the complaint that we lodged. That is the first issue. The second issue is that you've got now a private arrangement. You've got a deal that has been struck outside of the interest of the public. Therefore, even if one could say it's difficult to prove, but the reality is there, is that firstly, the public protector has been suspended. The second issue is that the current acting public protector, without taking the nation into its confidence, has decided to extend or give the extension to Mr. Ramaphosa. So that for us is clearly showing that there is influence that is there, and it gives rise to another of questions whether, what about the SARS, the Hawks, and the other institutions? If on this particular investigation involving the public protector, this is what has transpired, this is now what is on public record, what is going to happen with the investigation done by IPIT? What is happening with the speaker? Is Mr. Ramaphosa also exerting influence on the speaker because he's senior to the speaker in terms of the political party? that is why on this particular investigation, it would have made sense that Ramaphosa just steps aside so that he does not influence the investigations that are done by all of these law enforcement agents.
Well, Mr. Zungula, on the suspension of the public protector, we know that that was in lieu of the fact that she is in fact facing a parliamentary impeachment process, and as we know, the president was acting within his executive powers as granted to him by the Constitution to effect that suspension. So I don't know how much weight that presents your argument that there has been undue influence on the part of the president based on the suspension of the suspended public protector. But very quickly, because we are running out of time, as a complainant in this particular matter, I am curious if you still enjoy confidence in whether or not this inquiry is in fact being carried out independently, is in fact still able to carry out its probe with the necessary integrity that it needs.
Look, let's talk about principle. The former President Zuma has said he cannot appoint a chair of the Commission of Inquiry because he was implicated. With Sean Abrahams, his appointment of Sean Abrahams, it was said that it was declared invalid because he was implicated in a number of crimes. So that is why the court said he could not appoint. So that principle should be applied even here now, that Mr. Ramaphosa is a subject of investigations by the public protector. Therefore, regardless whether the parliament had already started with the process, but himself, as Ramaphosa, he was implicated and he could not have been balanced and fair when it comes to the suspension. Now, we as the ATM, based on what has transpired now, we do not have confidence that this investigation is transparent because there's been secret deals. Therefore, because there's no transparency, we are doubting the independence of the acting public protector. Firstly, because she could not take the nation into its confidence. Secondly, she could not come to us as a complainant and say, we know that this thing is very, very concerning to the public. Therefore, let me take you to the confidence that this is what has been requested by the president. She did not talk to us as a complainant. She did not alert the public. So we are not convinced that currently there's independence from the acting public protector.
Right, Mr. Zungula, we are going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That was ATM President Vuyo Zungula. Please note that Newzroom Afrika will be in conversation with the spokesperson of the Office of the Public Protector, at 9:30 this morning in response to the points made by Mr. Zungula.